Monument Valley 2 is a top-down puzzle game and a sequel to what was possibly my favourite puzzle game ever. I'm quite happy to say that this second entry to the series also lives up to an impeccably high standard set by its predecessor. One of the main things that sets this game apart from the previous installment is its bigger emphasis on storytelling. It's much less fragmented and is easier to follow, with more cutscenes and relatable themes spread throughout. Whereas the first game's narrative was about forgiveness, this one tells a coming-of-age story centered around a mother and her child. The first few levels start off with the two of them travelling together, which ends in a rather emotional scene that sees the child setting off on their own journey. What happens after that is sort of a split narrative where you see both of their adventures over a prolonged period of time. One of the main talking points of the story is that both characters still have a lot to learn, regardless of what stage of life they're in. While I enjoyed the vague storytelling in Monument Valley 1, I definitely preferred this approach that the developers have taken to the narrative, even if it isn't as long. It makes the game feel more moving, and I found it much easier to form a connection to the characters. Another aspect that I found to be an improvement was the visual quality, even if it's only slightly better. The levels in the first game were gorgeous, and that still rings true here, with some grander environments and impressive lighting techniques. Each map is full of vibrancy and colour. The minimalist diorama style still works fantastically, and there's a high attention to detail. The crow people aren't present in this one, so there is slightly less life to the levels, but they do have these cute little lizards. The almost sombre atmosphere is still prevalent, and it continues to be incredibly relaxing. The soundtrack still carries that vague, post-apocalyptic vibe, while also enhancing the cinematic elements of the cutscenes. To no surprise at all, Monument Valley 2's presentation contains no disappointment whatsoever, and in some ways even surpasses that of its predecessor. It's able to grab your attention almost instantly, and is assured to keep you immersed. The gameplay in Monument Valley 2 is quite similar to that of the first game, and a lot of the core mechanics remain untouched. There are, however, puzzles that are presented in new ways that manage to make for a refreshing experience. One of the major differences is the introduction of a second character. The challenges this poses aren't that difficult, but they do require you to take how and where you move into consideration. Later on, when control of both characters individually is given to you, the complexity begins to increase. I honestly wish the game was slightly longer, just so that mechanic could be explored more. What's noticeable about the puzzles in this game is that they do feel easier. The first game had a perfect balance when it came to difficulty, but I feel like the sequel has gone towards an easier direction. It's a shame because the last few levels do start to become harder. The absence of the crow people also takes away a major level component. There aren't any moving obstacles anymore, and you'll often be able to breeze through levels relatively quickly. Still, the puzzles that are on offer are still engaging, and there are some spectacular levels that are just as awe-inspiring as some of the ones you'd find in the previous game. What I really liked was that there weren't any that felt like reskins. Each one is new, unique, and creatively designed. Best of all, Totem is back. I probably should have mentioned him in my review of the first game. He's a character that you meet that serves as both a tool and a companion. You can drag him around across the level and can use him as a bridge or a pillar to reach a distant destination. Levels can still be modified in the same ways as before, with rotatable dials and movable platforms. These, however, are introduced in a more complex way, with more elements being manipulated by these contraptions. There's also a new magnet tool that you briefly see towards the end of the game that's pretty cool. So overall, despite the reduced difficulty level, Monument Valley 2 is still fantastic to play, with a wide variety of charming levels that'll certainly keep you engaged. Honestly, after finishing both of these games, I'm left wanting more. They presented unique puzzles situated in beautiful environments that generated wonder and imagination, and they did this to a near perfect standard. Luckily, a third game has been announced and I couldn't be more excited for it. If you haven't played these games yet, I implore you to buy them. There isn't anything quite like them. The Steam versions contain all of the extra content and they are both fairly priced. These are the best puzzle games I have ever played, and I have no doubt about that. thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, as always, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more like it, then be sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments what games you'd like to see a review for. Until the next one, see you next time. Bye.